Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? Today we're tackling something pretty interesting, I think, and that is wealth and freedom. We're looking at what it really takes to get both. And I gotta say, this isn't your typical get rich quick kind of stuff. Our source.
Oh.
It's a YouTube video by entrepreneur Iman Gadzhi. It's titled Brutally Honest Truth on How to Get Rich in 17 Minutes.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
Now I know you might be thinking.
On YouTube video.
Really. But Gadzhi, well, he built his success from nothing, and his perspective is really insightful, I think, especially for people like you who value efficiency, cutting to the chase.
Yeah, he's definitely not afraid to challenge the typical advice you hear.
Exactly. So he talks about this idea that he calls the unicorn complex, which is this belief that you need some revolutionary, never-before-seen idea to be successful,
Yeah.
And it's funny how often we fall into that trap. But Gadzhi, he uses some pretty interesting examples to kind of debunk this whole myth.
Right, like zippers, hangers, boxes, things we use every day, but don't think about. As huge moneymakers,
It's true. I never really thought about that. But those things are everywhere.
they are. And the truth is, those more boring businesses
Yeah.
can actually be really lucrative.
Okay, that's interesting. But why is that? Why are those boring businesses so successful?
Well, think about it. They're often, like essential services, they face less competition than, some brand new flashy thing.
Yeah.
And they're easier to model. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Gadzhi actually uses the example of YKK, the zipper company.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that little logo on zippers all the time.
Exactly. They make
Yeah.
over half the zippers in the world. Crazy, right?
That's wild.
And how do they get there? They focused on quality, built good relationships with manufacturers, and became the go-to source for reliable zippers. It's a classic example of how a simple, focused approach can lead to massive success.
So it really does challenge that whole unicorn complex. Huh. It's not always about the flashy new idea. Sometimes it's about finding a need and fulfilling it consistently and reliably.
And this also ties into Gadzhi's own experience, too. His first successful business was an agency, not exactly glamorous, but it worked.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He built it up, got experience,
Okay.
and then used that to branch out
Yeah.
into other things.
So what does this all mean for someone listening to this right now? It's about looking around, observing everyday problems, everyday needs, and asking yourself, could I solve that? Could I build a business around that? It might not be the next big tech unicorn, but it could be your ticket to financial freedom. And that brings us to Gadzhi's next point, the trap of being rich but not free. He shares a story about experiencing burnout even after achieving financial success.
Yeah, that's so relatable. He talks about constantly working, chasing the next deal, and ending up feeling trapped, like in a prison of his own making.
Wow.
He had money, but he didn't have freedom. It's a common trap for sure. You think more money equals more freedom. But it's not always the case. It really comes down to how you make that money and the lifestyle it allows you to live.
So it's not just about being rich. It's about being rich, A&E free. What's the secret? How can we avoid falling into that trap?
Well, Gadzhi says, you need to design a business and a lifestyle that prioritizes freedom right from the beginning. It's about asking yourself, what does freedom actually look like for me? What do I want my daily life to look like? And then you structure your business around those goals, not the other way around.
That makes a lot of sense, but
Yeah.
easier said than done, right? A lot of people feel like.
Yeah.
They need to grind for years before they can even start to think about freedom.
Right, and that's where Gadzhi's third secret comes in. He calls it the $10,000 a month freedom blueprint. And this is where things get really interesting, because he argues that you don't need to be a millionaire to be free.
Okay.
He says that $10,000 per month can be enough if you focus on how you're making that money rather than how much you're making.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
How can $10,000 a month be enough to live a life of freedom?
He gives this great comparison between an investment banker earning $500,000 a year and a small business owner making $100,000 a year. On the surface, the banker seems way richer, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. 5 times richer.
Exactly. But the difference is the small business owner, if they've set things up well, they probably have, way more time freedom and flexibility. They can choose their own hours, work from anywhere, take more time off without needing to ask permission from a boss. Whereas the investment banker, they're making bank, but they're probably tied to a super demanding job with long hours and not much vacation time.
So it's like a trade-off then. More money, but less control over your time.
Exactly.
So you could be making less money overall, but actually have a better quality of life.
Exactly. And this isn't just a theory. Gadzhi actually experienced this himself. He says that he felt truly happy and fulfilled when he was making around $10,000 a month because it gave him the freedom to live life on his own terms. He could travel, pursue his passions, spend time with people he cared about, things that he just couldn't do when he was laser focused on making as much money as possible.
It's a good reminder that wealth isn't just about how much money you have, it's about the freedom and experiences that money can give you. Okay, so how do we actually put this? $10,000 a month freedom blueprint into action. What kind of businesses or income streams actually fit into this idea?
That's a great question. And this is where Gadzhi gets really practical. He actually talks about a few different business models that can offer both flexibility and good income potential.
Okay, like what?
Well, for starters, he's a huge fan of online businesses. Things like e-commerce, digital marketing, online courses. These are all businesses that you can run from anywhere in the world. Just with a laptop and internet, you're not tied to a specific location.
Right.
And you can really scale your income.
Yeah, I can see how that would fit. With the whole freedom blueprint, what else?
Freelancing is another good option.
Yeah.
If you have skills in writing, design, programming, or really anything else that's in demand, you can offer your services as a freelancer and work with clients from all over. You get to choose your projects, set your own rates, and build a business that fits your lifestyle.
So it's all about using your skills and the internet to create a business that gives you both income and freedom.
Exactly. And it's not just about these big categories. There are so many niche businesses that can work with this.
Yeah.
$10,000 a month freedom blueprint.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Okay. Let's say you're really passionate about sustainable living. You could start an online store selling eco-friendly products. You could create a blog or a YouTube channel sharing tips about reducing your environmental impact. Or you could even offer consulting services to businesses that want to become more sustainable. Or maybe you love fitness. You could become an online personal trainer, create workout programs, or build a community around some specific type of fitness. There are endless possibilities.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where your passions and your skills meet a need in the market.
Exactly. And honestly, I think we forget about that a lot.
Yeah.
When we're thinking about getting rich, we get so focused on the money that we forget to ask, what do we really enjoy doing? And how can we turn that into a business?
It's not just about the money then. It's about the meaning and purpose behind the work you do.
Absolutely. And Gadzhi doesn't just throw these ideas out there. He actually gives you a framework for how to think about building a business that works with that. $10,000 a month freedom blueprint he talks about. Identifying your ideal lifestyle, choosing a business model that fits that, and focusing on providing real value to your customers. It's a really practical approach.
I like that. It's not just about dreaming of freedom. It's about actually taking steps to build it.
Exactly. And that's what makes Gadzhi's message so compelling. He's not just a motivational speaker. He's an entrepreneur who's actually done it. He's built successful businesses, achieved financial freedom, and now he's sharing what he's learned. It's inspiring. It gives you that feeling that, hey, maybe I can actually achieve this too.
Wow, this has been a really fascinating deep dive. It really makes you think differently about wealth and success.
It does. I think the main takeaway here is that it's not just about reaching some random financial goal. It's about designing a life that gives you security and freedom.
Yeah, for sure. So let's recap what we learned from Iman Gadzhi's video.
Brutally honest truth on how to get rich. First, we debunk the whole unicorn complex. You know that myth? That you need some groundbreaking idea to be successful sometimes. The most boring businesses, like those things we use every day, but don't really think about. Those can be the ones that bring in the big bucks.
Well, like we talked about before, YKK and those zippers. They just focused on making a great product, building good relationships, and meeting a need. And now look at them. They're everywhere. It's amazing. Okay, then we talked about the trap of being rich but not free. I think that's something a lot of us can relate to, especially entrepreneurs. It's easy to get caught up in working all the time and chasing money that we forget to think about our own well-being and freedom.
Yeah, and I think that's why Gadzhi's story is so important. He was successful, but he was burned out and unhappy. It was only when he shifted his focus from just making money to creating a lifestyle that he loved, that he actually felt fulfilled.
And that's what led him to the $10,000 a month freedom blueprint. You don't have to be a millionaire to live a life of freedom.
It's about structuring your income in a way that gives you security and flexibility.
Exactly. So it's about choosing businesses or income streams that fit with your values, your passions, and how you want to live your life.
Whether that's an online business,
Freelancing,
or something super niche. There's so many options.
It's pretty inspiring, honestly. It shows you that wealth and freedom aren't about following some strict rules. It's about creating a life that works for you. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question that Gadzhi asks in his video. If you could design your ideal lifestyle with $10,000 a month, what would that look like? What kind of business or income would give you the freedom to live that life? Think about that. Really let it sink in.
You might be surprised at what you come up with.
This deep dive has given me a lot to think about, and I hope it's done the same for you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.